Well, good morning, everyone. This is the Being Your Own CEO Success Circle, and we are here especially for solopreneurs. And this morning, we are going to be looking at Google Forms. So, just moving right in, I will begin by introducing everybody that is here. So, boy, everybody's just popping in at the last minute here. So, I will introduce David. He is in Illinois. He creates affordable websites for small business. Alana is in Ireland. She supports businesses by creating and maintaining their websites. Okay, let's see. Who else is here? Nathan, I see you are here. He's in Mexico and he guides writers through the process of the creation of a book. And Paul Murray is here in BC. He helps startups turn ideas into profitable action. I hope I've got everybody here before okay. So, and then we have Vivek, who is here from the UK. He simplifies life and business by unifying different technologies and developing software. And are we ever going to talk about that this morning? And finally, my name is Loa Ann, and I'm in British Columbia, and I coach retirees who want to create an online business. So welcome here, everybody. We've all been here for a little while, and we decided that we would just make use of some demo. Well, first of all, some discussion first about why if we're talking about Google Forms, it seems to be something that a lot of people are not aware of or don't use or whatever. So first of all, Google Forms is if you have a Google account, a Gmail account, or a G Suite account, it's part of the suite of things that are provided to you. So that's one thing. And so we thought it might make sense to begin by talking about the various uses. Like what are some of the things that you might use a Google Forms for? So one of the first things that I would say is to create your own contact me, which we will show you later on. But that is instead of using a plugin, a WordPress plugin, you can create this form and just embed it. So that's one thing. We thought that another use would be a survey. Let's say you wanted to find out information from clients or whatever on your website. You could create a survey. I actually used a different platform for my business evaluation tool, which on my lowaland.com, but it basically was just a forum where there were questions and there were different kinds of answers that could be given. So yeah, I used a form for that as well. So I don't know whether anybody else can think of any other uses that they might want to use a form for. Anybody suggest anything?
Well, I had intended to use Google Forms for helping to create a template for doing a book. And what I discovered is there was a I'm trying to remember now. Um, I wound up talking with one of my colleagues about this because I wanted to use it to create like instructions and then filling in the. I'm just trying to think of the words. Apologies if it's not coming, but to have the instructions and to have the spaces where people would fill in the form, then they'd press the button and it would create a piece at the end of it. But what I discovered after that, talking with a friend of mine, is that actually the way that he did it was not to use a Google form at all, but was to build the layout that he wanted using Photoshop or Illustrator. Illustrator would be better, or some sort of program like that, where you have the instructional outlets or the instructional pieces that you want, and where the spaces were where you would want people to fill it in, to use actually Adobe Acrobat
Yeah.
and then to build it that way.
Mm.
And it would give a better result. But
Mm.
that's what I was looking into. You could still do it with Google Forms,
Mm-hmm.
but it just seemed to be a little bit, well, not as flexible in
Mm-hmm.
terms of the look and feel.
Yeah. Well, we're um, currently Vivek and I are working on using the Google form to create a learning management tool. So we're going to talk about that shortly. But we thought that I guess when you have a tool like that, it's really interesting to kind of discover what are some of the uses that you could use it for. So so that so those are three things that I'm using them for. But I just wondered, Vivek, can you think of any other or David?
Well, I'm going to be using it for like requesting people that are requesting their house to be listed and things
Ah,
like that. But that's similar to a contact me form.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just a form that they're going to fill out to give me basic information and
Hmm.
let me know that they want to list their house
Right.
and start the
Hmm.
calculations that way.
Mm.
And the other reason I want to switch to Google Forms is from what I'm reading, it's a secure way of handling your information. Um, you get less; they can't scrape your email off of the form
Right.
from the um, when the bots can't scrape your email, so you're not getting these spam emails. It's all going to Google.
Aha. Right on.
So
And Lolan, we have a business, Home Watch Canada, where we look after vacant homes when people are away on holidays, and there's a checklist of individually created for each home, and we use Google Forms for that.
Ah, right on. Okay. So, Alana, do you use forms at all now?
No, I don't, but I'm very interested to learn about it today because I'm especially intrigued about the whole bot scraping thing or lack thereof and
Uh-huh.
not getting spam. So anything that eliminates that and makes the whole contact form process easier, I'm on board.
Mm-hmm. Right on. Okay. So, and I'm also checking the live chat, and I want to recognize that Javita is out there watching. So, hi, Javita. Glad you're here. So, Vivek, do you want to kind of show what the form looks like? And you are muted.
Yes, certainly. And let me bring up the screen and
Hmm.
start sharing. But first, one of the use cases with interacting with you, obviously, Loveland,
Yeah.
was thinking of why should a coach use Google Forms? And here is what I came up with.
Uh
So
huh.
Here's a very short presentation. I'm not going to bore you to death with the PowerPoint, but bear with me. Why Google Forms? There is a lot of interaction that needs to happen between coach and student. So it's a two-way interaction. It's not that, as far as I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, Levelan. The interaction is two-way. The coach tells the student to do something, student does it, or the student may have questions. There's a lot of interaction happening two-way. For that, if you try to use emails and the like, it gets quite messy, because there is no structure there. Email, it's a free form. You can respond in any way you want, so it's too loose. There's no structure. Form forces you to have some kind of structure. So the big advantage is the coach would know what progress of the student would know the expectation, what is expected of him or her, and then the student will do feedback the status to coach. So both would know where they are. And there is a kind of record, because every interaction using the forms gets recorded in a Google sheet. So that's where I'm saying, if you use a email, the email will be everywhere.
Yeah.
You might even use some other form of communication, but again, all that communication will go everywhere, and when you want to find out what's going on where, and um,
So we
it
could
will,
we could call it almost like a consolidation tool. It puts it
yes,
all into one place. Yeah.
puts it all into one place, gives it a structure, and that's where, and in a simple way, that's and the other thing I came up was the coach may have the same question. You can ask the same question every time, but the response that the student gives will change over time. As the student goes through the process, every time the response will be different. The question can be the same, but the response is different. You ask the same question,
So
but
in the spreadsheet, the consolidation from the coach's perspective, you can go in there and see the variety of responses that the people that you're working with have given.
yeah, so
Yeah.
you know what
Yeah.
how the student has progressed, and you may want to add more questions. Maybe, I don't know, you may add more questions and then get even more different responses. Even the questions may still be one of a bunch of questions that you have, but that's how I see it as such.
So Vivek is using coaching with like a coachee, and the coach maybe connecting on certain exercises or whatever. But you can also kind of expand that into a course. So some courses have some can have some aspects of coaching involved in them, but I mean, you could very easily set it up as a course where they go through a certain module, then they answer certain questions, almost like a quiz, at the end of that module. So there's a variety of ways that you can think about that. Yeah.
And yeah, as an example, I'm Lowell, and I'm showing your website, and this is your website. This is where we are streaming
Yes.
this video
This
live.
this current right
Yes.
now.
And if we go to, say, contact page here, this is what you would see. And here there are two forms. One is this one on the left hand side. The other one is here. This is contact form. I would go a bit more into detail of what's happening here. See, as you can see, this is where the bot protection comes in. It uses reCAPTCHA, and so bots cannot answer the form and pretend to be a person and get your email address and all that. So that way it gets prevented. So coming to the contact form that you see here, the form on this side here is actually the form which is used in a advanced case of using form. It's a chipmunk form. It's fairly advanced, so I wouldn't want to go into more details with that right now. But let me go into the
Vivek, before you leave there, could you on the left side, could you scroll down and show that there's more than one form in there? So there's two sessions, so people can sign up for the form or sign up for the success circle there, and then that triggers some automatic actions that within Chipmunk that Vivek has created for me. So there's yeah. So it's interesting that in both cases those are not plugins, like the contact information piece that you see there and the sign up for Success Circle. They're not plugins, they are embeds.
So let me go into further details with this contact form. So this, hope everybody can see the
Yes, we can see it.
form.
Yeah, we can see it.
So this is the form. You can add stuff in here. This is a basic designing a form. It's essentially drag and drop. You can add a question, import questions, all that. This is what you see on the website.
And those little sections, when you're setting the form up, you can you can change the order of them. You can, each one of those little sections is separate. So you work with that little section, and then you add another one that's another little section. So it's really easy to set up, really easy.
Like that.
Yeah.
Again.
And those little buttons down the side, that's all you need is those little buttons to add a new section or to change the kind of a question it is or whatever. Yeah. Yeah.
I hope I have put it back in the same order. Full name, phone number. Full name, phone number. Yeah. Okay. So this is the form, but and when you embed the form, this is how it will look. When someone enters data here and hits the submit button, the data that they enter actually gets recorded here in this Google Sheet. There is more. It's not as simple as it looks. What happens is when someone fills in this form, they get a response from you essentially saying that thank you for filling the contact form, this is what you filled in, and you can put in a customized message there saying we'll contact you as soon as possible, etc., etc. All that happens automatically. That's one part. The second part is, as a owner of this form, you get an email saying that someone on your website filled this form and these are the details that they filled in. That all that is in addition to that whole thing being recorded here in this
Where there's nothing.
yeah, at the
Right now.
moment there's nothing because we, in a way, we wanted to clear up the sheet so that, I mean, to protect their privacy or whatever. Someone has filled in their email address and so on. We don't want to expose all of
No.
that
No.
onto YouTube. So,
Right.
so that's why all that is cleared. But let me fill in the form and show you what actually happens.
Got to go back to the there. I won't be phoning you, Vivek.
And here there is a interesting aspect you brought up just now. These two aspects are required. Unless you fill them in as this indicates,
Yeah.
the form, you won't be able to submit the form, whereas the phone number you can omit. You don't have to give the phone number. Comments you don't have to fill in. I'm just
Heidi has joined us from Italy.
Oh, greetings, Heidi.
so that's what I hit that and say submit. And on the website, this is what it will say. And if I go to my email, let me stop sharing the screen for a minute. And share it again. This is the email I got from the form automatically. It says, thank you, Vivekanand Bindur. You filled the contact form on my website and commented that I shall get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Have a nice day. These are the customized messages which Lowland customized. And this is a message which comes to me automatically. Lowland would get a message on her email saying that somebody filled the form with these details, and so she would get an email alert But more importantly, see here, this is the detail that I just filled in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time, that's the email address, that's name, and the comment that I keyed in demo purposes only.
Mm-hmm.
So how does this magic happen? Magic happens here. There is a bit of code. This code handles that aspect. So Loveland would get an email saying that name with the email address and a phone number, so and so, time zone, etc., commented like this. So that's the email that she would get. And the visitor, that is me in this case, would get an email saying that thank you,
Mm-hmm.
my name, my email address, and it says you filled the contact form on my website, and that's the email I showed you just
Yeah.
minutes ago.
Now, how many people would even know that the back end of that spreadsheet has this that allows you to tell it to do certain activities? This is the piece that blew me away. I never knew that there was that capability in behind the spreadsheet. Yeah.
So that's all. That's the code bit, and this is if you add more items into the form, this bit you would need to change.
Yeah.
Vivek, you're missing a semicolon.
Hi, Jay. Spoken like a true
Coder.
coder.
No, it's right there. It's missing it there.
Yeah. So, so you can see that even just as a contact form, you can do that. You don't. I guess you need to know a little bit of HTML in the back end.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know any HTML other than things that I've noticed that when you put that in, this is what happens. So I keep track of what that is. So I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of knowledge to be able to set that up. Alana.
So, what does it look like on the back end of your WordPress site?
It's an embed.
It's an
just
embed
need to
code. Where do you put it?
Embed the just need to the embed. If you look at the embed code, it gives
part.
you iframe, and you take that iframe code. It gives you an HTML code essentially. You just
Okay.
need to plug
So if
that
you're
in.
creating a page, or so on a page, you would just go into the text part of a
Yes.
page and
Yes.
put in the code there. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. All right,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to know. Thanks.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can show you that part.
David.
Can you have it sent to more than one email?
Yes, as it is, the code I showed you actually is sending email to two email addresses. One is yourself, the other is the visitor. You can add more
Yeah.
into that. This bit here, let me show the code again. See, this bit here is the bit which sends the email. This, as I'm saying here, I'm sending the email to the visitor first, and then send an email to the owner of the farm.
Yeah. So you could add another one in there if you wanted to.
Yeah, you can add as many as you want with the different emails and all that. And yes, I was trying to see how in the how to get the embed code.
Oh, yes, yes.
Embed
It's
code.
under send.
Yes.
Yeah, I think it's the top right.
It's under send.
Am I sharing the screen?
No.
So this is the form, and if I click on these responses here, it takes me to the sheet that I mentioned here, the Google Sheet.
Mm-hmm.
If I go back to the form and click on this send button, and then this angle brackets or whatever you want to call them, if I click on that, that gives me the embed HTML. So if I copy this whole thing,
And you just paste it on your web in the
page,
text.
you can customize it a little bit, in the sense you can change the width and height of the form, and then accordingly the bit here changes slightly. So you can do that, then copy this HTML code, put it on your WordPress site as HTML.
I have a question. So if you take a Google form and you stick it in a folder, like in one of your Google folders, when the spreadsheet is created for the form, does that spreadsheet also reside in that same folder, or does it just go to the root of your Google Drive?
It goes into the root of your Google Drive.
Okay.
Well,
But you can move it.
yes, because I have, yeah.
We had that problem yesterday. When Lowland wanted to have lots of forms and Google Sheets associated with that form in the same place, so we had to move it. But
we organized
yes,
it, got it
Okay.
organized.
And moving it doesn't break the connectivity between the form and the spreadsheet?
No.
Okay.
No.
Good to know.
So we're getting close to the end. There was one. So what we're working on right now, I think, as most of you know, I had no luck with LearnDash, which was an expensive plugin. So we started thinking about, okay, so is there a way that we could create a learning management system just using these Google products? So I'm at the point now where I've got we're just doing it in Site Rubix for the time being, but we've got the pages set up, and so basically what you can do is create a form, first of all, for registration, and we know that that could be on a page, like a landing page, which could have a PayPal button and so forth. So then what would happen is that people would, if somebody registered, they would get just what you saw there from the contact, and I would get the information, except that in the back end we would show a link that would take them to module 2 of the course. And in that form, I'm able to put questions when the person completes that one module. I have some questions that relate to that module that would allow them to put that in, and they would get I would get the response, and they would get they would see what they put in as well. So you can set it up so that the person progresses through. The test one I'm doing right now is how to find your passion, and there are 5 modules. So we've got it pretty well set up now, so that I've just got a little bit of copying pasting to do, and then we'll be ready to test it before I move it over to my main website. So this was a fascinating exercise for me to discover that by just using these tools in a very very simple and easy way, we could create a course which would keep people on my website, which was the main goal in the first place.
Yeah,
So-
even though Google Docs and Google Forms and everything that is Google related is being used, people still will continue to be on your website.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
they will
you
see
know,
it on your website.
what about using something like Optimized Press to create a course? I mean, it seems that you're wanting to do a free route, but if I was to create a course, I would use Optimized Press with the either the
There are
plugin that comes
multiple
in.
tools, obviously. I mean,
Oh, okay, okay.
We're
I'm
But
not
just
saying this is the
this
only
just an
way.
exercise?
this no we I wanted to see if there was a way to do this, and so we just decided to play with it and see if we could do it. And I believe that
Got it.
we've discovered a way to do it in a very simple way. Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Buying is boring.
yeah,
Better to build it from scratch, right?
yeah.
But
Yeah.
I like Nathan's idea because I've used Optimized Press before. It's a pretty good product for membership delivery and product delivery and stuff like that. And so, but I do find that they haven't. I don't think they've updated it in a while, but I've used the product. It's a great product.
Right.
It's and I find that they market and they gear it towards internet marketers, versus like online business owners, so to speak. Just the way they have their sales page and stuff like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that for sure. It's designed for the internet marketer. It's
Yeah.
if you're in that space, they've got a whole bunch of really great templates that you can use. But part of the reason that I mentioned it is because it literally has a system built within it for building a membership site. It gives you everything you need to lay it out with all your content pages and all of that already in place. You would just modify it somewhat to fit your own needs, and that's why I mentioned it.
Well, that's what LearnDash was too, but
Yeah,
there were massive problems with that. So
LearnDash
Yeah.
came with glowing reviews and whatnot. And I mean, if you look
Yeah.
at the feature list, the feature list
Well-
is a mile long. But
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm coming from a different perspective on this. I've actually written a whole ton of tutorials for Optimized Press. I think I wrote something like 20 of them for a site called HTML Goodies. So you're not hearing from somebody who's just giving you tons of testimonials and saying how wonderful it is. You're talking with someone who's actually used it and built
yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a
So that's
question.
different.
Yes,
Does
David.
Optimized Press keep it on your site, or do they move
Yes.
you to?
That's the reason I'm mentioning this. It's all on your real estate, not somebody else's. And even with the
Yeah.
Google stuff, it's on their real estate. And this is one of the things that's come up repeatedly. When we've been talking about building your business, it's on your site. So you have the hosting for it. You use the appropriate plugins, the templates, whatever, but it's all on your hosting. So you have full control over it. And that's one of the major reasons why I like it.
However, the intent today was not so much about what software you should use to create a learning management system. It was to show some of the uses that you can use for Google Forms. And
Okay,
it
fair
just
enough.
it just turns out that we've been playing with this, and it looks like it's going to work. And I thought it was, as Jay said, I thought it was great fun. So any other comments, because we are past the bottom of the hour?
yeah, I saw Jay just do a online unpacking video. What was that about?
Sorry, I didn't actually realize I turned my camera back on when I unboxed that.
Yes,
so
nosy minds want to know.
it's a new toy. Yeah.
Well, let's just wait until we stop streaming and we can talk about it.
There you go.
Okay, are we ready to finish off? Any final comments about Google Forms? No? Well, in that case, I just want to remind everyone it's important to do what you love with passion, and we shall see you next week. So I will just do the